Welcome back, everyone. Most of the time, people try to avoid eating bacteria. However, good bacteria, well, it's another story altogether. In fact, one of this year's hottest food trends is all about munching on foods that are rich and helpful with microorganisms.
We're talking about fermented foods and the friendly bacteria they contain. Here with more is holistic nutritionist Kim Dion. Welcome back, Kim.
So Kim, let's start with why are fermented foods so popular right now, and what are some that we should be looking out for?
Well, I think we talked about that just off the top. Is like we've been spending so much time and focus trying to avoid the bad stuff that we forget about the powerful benefits of probiotic foods, so beneficial bacteria. And it just so happens that fermented foods are packed with probiotics. So as people know more about gut health and the importance in our overall health, we're looking to fermented foods, and we have so many options. You know, there's kefir, sauerkraut, kimchi, I mean, the list goes on, apple cider vinegar. And so we have so many options. They're tasty and delicious, but they're also so healthy.
Okay, so let's talk about those. What are the overall health benefits of fermented foods?
Well, because our gut is really home to so many different microbes and bacteria, there always is this tug of war between the good and the bad guys, right? So we want to give the good guys an upper hand, because once we start balancing out that gut bacteria, it impacts all over our bodies. So things like, well, we would obviously have better digestion, but also like moods and concentration, because our guts are so connected to our brains. And then we're going to have better immunity, because most of our immune system is actually in our gut. And then even things like metabolism and weight are so tied to the balance of good and bad bacteria in our gut that they really have like far-reaching impacts. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. Plus, they're way higher in nutrients and just really easy to digest. So you can see why I'm so excited about today.
Well, bacteria sound amazing. This is awesome.
Okay, it's time to get us excited about the bacteria too. So let's start with sauerkraut. I eat a lot of sauerkraut in the winter because it's part of a traditional Polish dish called bigos. It's a hunter stew. But I want to add it more in the summer. So what are your suggestions?
Well, you're in luck, because it's so easy in the summertime, especially just adding onto a fresh salad. Because, you know, it's like that vinaigrette, you know, you want an acid boost to lift up all of the flavors. Something tangy, and that's what sauerkraut does. But, of course, on top of it, you're getting all the probiotic benefits. And in its raw state, that's when you're really going to get those live, active cultures. So it's nice to have it raw, and it just tastes delicious. So I've just put it on top of a protein-rich, there's quinoa and beans and all the things I love to talk about. And then sauerkraut. Do I sound like a total nerd? But yeah,
no,
and then sauerkraut.
Not at all. It looks delicious. So while Lainey gives it a try, tell us exactly what fermentation is, Kim.
Right. Okay, so very simplified in a nutshell. It's basically a chemical reaction that happens when those little bacteria, like Pac-Man, eat up sugars or carbs, and they convert them into acid. Now, this is all done in an oxygen-free condition. That's important. So it's kind of like a controlled rot, which I know sounds really gross, but it's really fantastic because like trillions of bacteria are created and they survive and thrive. But on top of it, that chemical reaction also unlocks a lot of really great nutrients. So where cabbage has a decent amount of vitamin C in it, sauerkraut we can have up to 20 times the amount of vitamin C in sauerkraut. Yeah, you're welcome. I know.
That's a big deal.
I know.
Okay, so the next fermented food is kefir, and I always see it now in the grocery store, but I actually don't know what it is. So tell me what it is and how you've used it here.
Okay, so kefir, like you said, don't fear the kefir. You said
Don't
it right.
fear the kefir.
Don't fear the kefir. It is amazing. It's basically like a liquid fermented milk product that can be made from cow, goat, sheep, dairy. You can also get coconut milk kefir. And it's like a drinkable yogurt. So a lot of people are adding it to their cereal. You can put it in a smoothie or make it into a dressing. What I've done here, very cleverly, is just strained it in a coffee filter to make it more thick and made it into a ranch dip. Don't you just love it? Fresh herbs, a little garlic.
Who doesn't love ranch?
Who doesn't love ranch? Hidden Valley no more.
Wow, that's incredible. Kim, you mentioned yogurt. So what is the difference then between kefir and yogurt?
Okay, well, in a nutshell, besides the consistency and the flavor, it's just the amount of probiotics present and the variety of different strains. So kefir is just much more powerful in terms of its probiotic strength. And, you know, it's just so fantastic to add to so many different things.
With all that stuff in it, it just tastes like yogurt. It actually doesn't even taste like yogurt. It tastes like really bad, like bad for you ranch deliciousness.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? Because I imagine like ranch is not what I would call probably like I'm not going to drink a thing of ranch.
But you
right
can now.
But now I can.
And,
like that better. It's tangy.
That's tangy. Oh, I forgot to mention, because if you have lactose intolerance, those,
Go on.
see you later. But if you we're in trouble. No, we're not, actually, because those bacteria that I told you about pre-digest the sugars. Lactose is a milk sugar, so a lot of people with lactose intolerance can actually handle fermented dairy products a little bit better thanks to those bacteria.
All right. Okay, so Kim, over here, you prepared a dish using kimchi. I love kimchi so very much, but does it have the same kind of clout and boost as the sauerkraut here?
What would you do if I told you that it did?
Yay!
Yes.
Yay! I would say yay, Kim.
It's made in the exact same fermentation process. It's just, you know, obviously it's got like a spicy Korean flair. Because
love the spicy.
There's radishes and some chilies in there as well. So I just thought it would be a great addition, like a spicy, tangy addition to a fresh summer rice roll. Was I right?
It sounds like it. It looks like it.
It looks like it.
Looks like
her too.
And she's dipping into a sauce that also has a fermented ingredient.
I'm dipping again.
Why not double the trouble, right? Like, that's a miso sesame sauce that I made with miso. A lot of people, when they hear miso, they think miso soup, and they have no idea what it is, actually. So it's a thick, salty paste that's made from fermenting beans, usually soybeans, but sometimes even chickpeas, rice, barley. So that's what miso is. Umami, fantastic. Fermentation. Raw is also really great
That
to do
is
it raw
everything.
like that.
Marcy's on board.
On board. I can smell it. I can smell it. So last but not least, we're going to tackle dill pickles, of which I am a fan. But you are saying that, I'm not alone. Who doesn't love a pickle? But you are saying that there are fermented.
Yes.
I want all of my dill pickle fans to hear this. Fermented dill pickles. So
Yes.
what is the difference between the two?
It is a huge difference. So basically, pickles that we're most used to are just little cucumbers soaked in vinegar. No fermentation, no good bacteria, no unlocked nutrients. Fermented dill pickles are actually in a saltwater brine, and they undergo that fermentation process, and they create that acid, which is where they get that tangy signature flavor, but you're getting all those probiotics as well and all of those unlocked nutrients. So we love a fermented dill. They're a staple in my house. And what you're going to eat is just a little simple cracker, rice cracker with some hummus and then a dill on top, and it makes people at a party go crazy in a good way.
Just because it's so
Yeah.
delicious. Is it good? I'm going to try one. But I want to know, when you're shopping for these types of food, how do you know what to look for to make sure you're getting the good stuff? Like, for instance, like the fermented pickles versus the kind that I think I normally eat.
No. You want to definitely look for, to avoid the words pickled vegetables, because pickled, again, is just in vinegar, no fermentation has occurred. You want to look for the word unpasteurized, because pasteurization is a heating process, and heat will kill the good bacteria. So look for words like raw, live, active cultures. Look for the word cultured, starter cultures. We like the word cultured. We like
Cultured.
You can be cultured by eating cultures. But yeah, look for that. And the most important thing is that you want to find these in the refrigerated section. True fermented foods in the fridge.
Okay, that's a good tip. That's a good tip.
Yeah.
And before we start adding more fermented foods into our diet, any guidelines we should be aware of?
Yeah, because you kind of want to do a slow and steady sort of thing, especially if you're not used to them, because essentially what happens is in the gut, it's fantastic. You got lots more good guys, more troops, but they're killing off the bad guys. And when the bad guys are inactivated, they got to leave somehow. And if you're doing that too fast or too aggressively, that could be through the skin. You might get pimples, headache, bloating, gas, those sorts of unpleasant things. So try to ease in with like a quarter cup, half a cup a day, a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of kefir or something like that. See how your body reacts and then increase from there. We should be doing it about every day, though, if we can, if possible.
This was an education today.
Yes.
This is amazing. And a delish one. Thank you so much. If you'd like to try any of these fermented food recipes yourself, head to thesocial.ca right after the show. We're back right after this.